Hello.
Hi, we are live on YouTube, I believe.
Yes, we are. This is weird and scary and kind of fun.
Yeah, well, first things first, we've crossed the first hurdle. We are actually live this time.
Yes, we are.
If you were here a couple of weeks ago, you will know that we tried our hardest to be live and we failed a little bit miserably.
We did because
technical issue.
Because YouTube makes you wait 14 hours before you can go live. So,
so welcome to Country Monthly and our first live episode. I'm not going to get over that for a little while, so sorry anybody who's watching. I'm not sure if I can see if anybody's actually watching us.
No, I can't, but if you are, hello. I think
we have a chat that's going. Oh, there's 4 people watching us.
Hello, 4 people.
Anyway, right, let's get on. We've set ourselves a timer for like 5 to 9 so we don't run over.
Yeah.
This is our C2C special, but before we get into that, we forgot last time because we got distracted by having to record it instead of going live. We wore our t-shirts.
We did. Yeah.
So, and this full disclosure, I won this on my personal Instagram account. It was nothing to do with the channel.
Nope, we're not getting
sponsored.
Yeah,
but we like the company.
This. Mm-hmm.
So it's called Rootin' Tootin' Tees, and they make all sorts of country themed t-shirts and
bottle openers and patches and all sorts of things.
Yes. So I have a good cup of ambition, Dolly inspired, and Laura's is the Nashville sky.
It takes me to Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, and then it's got boots and a guitar and the skyline, and there's loads of detail in this print. Like every time I look at it, I find new things. So
they're cute, and check out Rootin' Tootin' Tees. We'll put their description.
Yes,
no, I'll get this right soon. We'll put their link in our description box.
Yes, we will.
Whenever we get a chance to edit that. I don't know how it works with live. Can you tell?
You can tell when you can't you?
Yes. So C2C, this is what the special episode is. For our American friends who might not know what C2C is, it is the largest country music festival in the UK, and it happened 2 weekends ago now, and I'm still sad that it's not still happening.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give a quick rundown of what it is. Laura has been going to C2C longer than I have. She's going to tell us more about kind of like people that have been there in the past and stuff. So it happens in 3 cities around the UK over the same weekend. And the main stage artists and some of the spotlight stage artists rotate round the cities. So it happens in Dublin, Glasgow, and London all at the same time. And we went to the London one, which is, it's at the O2 in London, which is it was the Millennium Dome. You know what it's like. It's on the EastEnders theme tune and everything, which is a very British reference. So big dome arena thing. It's got like shops and restaurants and lots of other stuff inside it too.
Yeah, cinema, stuff, various things. But yeah.
Yes. So we're going to mainly talk about the London one because that's where we were. I believe that Glasgow has the spotlight stage. I don't know if Dublin has a spotlight stage or whether it just has the main stage acts.
I can't remember. I don't think it does. I don't know if they are going to change that next year because it's moving to Belfast for 2024. Whether that's a permanent thing or temporary, I don't know. So I don't know if they will have a spotlight stage in Belfast, but we'll find out, I assume.
Yeah. So there's 4 main stage artists each evening. There are spotlight stage artists, and the spotlight stage is within the main arena. It's a smaller stage at the back. An artist play on there whilst the main stage is being changed over. And then in London, there are also, I think I counted 6 other stages, I think it is.
Yeah.
That are either inside the O2 but outside the arena bit or completely outside. So there are 2 that are outside. One used to be in the main foyer and is now completely outside, called Big Entrance. Yeah. There's the town square, which we'll talk about in more detail in a minute, which has the barrel house inside it. Yeah. And then there's the Wayside and the Icon, which are free stages in the shopping centre and in the restaurant part of the O2. And then there's the Indigo, which is the smaller venue within the inside of the O2. Yeah. How many does that hold?
I want to say, couple of thousand, maybe a little bit. I would say a little bit smaller than somewhere like Shepherd's Bush Empire or Kentish Town Forum, both of which are about just over 2,000. So yeah.
The upstairs part of the Indigo is all seated. It's like fixed seating. And then the downstairs, they either have it standing or seated, depending on what's going on.
Yeah.
So
and there is also the saloon at All Bar One, upstairs in All Bar One. So
there is the saloon at All Bar One.
Again, just inside the O2. So as you walk in, it's on your left, basically.
Yeah. I forgot about the saloon completely. That's a bit bad of me. There is also some other stuff that goes on at C2C, such as like the Bluebird Cafe. We're not going to focus on that this episode because we didn't go to that, quite frankly. I don't even know where that happens. There's like another.
It's in the Blue Room, I think, which is.
Oh, I see. Which is like the kind of
just
bar
sort of
of O2 karaoke.
Yeah, and it's like off to the right, kind of as you're going towards the main arena doors. When you walk in the O2. So yeah.
So that is kind of what it is. It's been going since 2013. It used to be 2 days. It's now 3 days. I don't know when it transitioned to being 3 days.
It was 2016 because the first year I went was the first year it had it's 3 days.
Okay.
So
and it pulls some pretty big names. The headliners this year were Zach Brown Band, Lady A, and Thomas Rhett. So we got some big stars over here once or twice a year.
Yeah, but we've had some major acts. Like I think the first people that I saw headline it were Miranda Lambert, Carrie Underwood, and Eric Church. And also, quite strangely, the first artist I ever saw on a main stage at C2C on a Friday night in 2016 was none other than Thomas Rhett. So, when he was on his second album. So, like, and I think it might have been his first trip over here as well. So he was very new at that point. But they've had people like, I think their first ever headliners were Carrie and Tim McGraw. Yeah, and they've had Florida Georgia Line. They've had Luke Ryan. They've had, again, Tim McGraw came back a couple of years ago with Fail. They've had Little Big Town. They've had Brad Paisley. They've had Reba McEntire. They've had some, they've had big, and that's just headliners. As soon as we start going down that main bill, they've had people like Dan and Shay and Maren Morris and big. There was a brief period of what was called the Legends slot on the Sunday, so you'd get people like Marty Stewart and Emmylou Harris, big sort of big names. We've had people like Dwight Yoakam before. We've had some major kind of like, I feel I need to go and dig out all my old C2C t-shirts and run through the list basically. And again, even like it's good man. We've had Darius Rucker a few times. We've had who actually was a headliner last year. We've had Kit Moore, who has never been a headliner but should be. Luke Combs. Again, watching people go from those spotlight stages or smaller slots. To go further up the bill. Like I think the first time that Luke came, he was either an opener or he was second.
He was an opener from what I saw written down.
On a Saturday, I think, and then he was a Sunday headliner. So it was like, you can, again, Maren went from the spotlight to a main stage slot a year later. We've had people like Ashley McBride do that. We've had, Sam Hunt do that. We've had a lot of. Yeah.
So we are lucky, and it is a big festival. There's about, I don't know the exact seating numbers based on the configuration of the venue for it, but it's like a good 15,
20,000 I would say.
At the O2, the Hydro and the 3 Arena are a little bit smaller, I think, but they get packed out every year. So that is the biggest country music festival in the UK. So here is our roundup of all the fun that we had in the last 2 weeks ago. So we're going to start off on the Thursday night, because just before the main festival kicks off on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, CMA themselves, the Country Music Association from Nashville, they present a Songwriters series, which is in the Indigo, which is all seated when it's the Thursday night. So I don't know, there's maybe 1,500 people there, something like that.
Yeah, like it always almost sells out. It's always
it does. It's really popular. It's a really good way to start the weekend. It's quite a chilled way to start the weekend, which is quite nice because it's a full-on weekend.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say it can be a chilled way. Like I've seen things like, I've seen Jimmy Allen like climbing up into the seating area.
No way.
Watching Jimmy Allen and Travis Denning egg each other on, it's like ridiculous, was quite something. That must have been 2019, I think, or 2018. It was, and then obviously we were there the year that Shy Carter was there, and
yeah, to be fair, that wasn't so relaxing. He was great, but it wasn't relaxing.
But generally it's quite chill and kind of you get some stories behind the songs and you get quite lots of chat and insight. So it's it's nice to hear people tell you about their songs, and also you often get someone there that is not a famous singer in their own right. They are purely a songwriter, or they've gone on to become a singer in their own right, or things like that. So first one I went to in 2022, we had Luke Dick, who's written a lot of hits for Eric Church, Dierks Bentley, Miranda Lambert, people like that. Yeah. And this year, the what I'm going to say, true songwriter, and I don't mean that the other people aren't true songwriters. What I mean is this person is famous for being a songwriter, not a performer, was Ashley Gorley. And you might not know who Ashley Gorley is, and I meant to bring this up in advance, so just bear with me. I am going to search for the Written by Ashley Gorley playlist on Spotify to give you an idea of just who he is. Oh, it's not. Come on, written by Ashley. Well, Beth searching for that again. Some of the other people we've had who are mainly known as songwriters to come to the songwriters. We've had people like Natalie Hemby. We've had Laura Veltz, who writes with Maren Morris a lot. And it's kind of that thing where it's super interesting hearing like them play these songs and tell you the stories. Like I remember I was telling Beth this when Natalie Hemby did it, and she told us the story about she played Pontoon, which she wrote with Little Big Town. She was like, we knew what motorboat was when we wrote that.
Yeah, that was funny. Here you go. It's not the official one. I thought there was an official one. You're gonna miss this, Trace Atkins. All American Girl, Carrie Underwood. Good Girl, Carrie Underwood. That's My Kind of Night and Crash My Party by Luke Bryan. Hey Girl by Billy Currington. Running Out of Moonlight by Randy Houser. Oh No by Chris Young. I can never say that in a way that makes
cool. No, I had it.
Young and Crazy, Frankie Ballard. So that is just a t-shirt by Thomas Rhett, which is relevant for this weekend. That is just a snippet of the over 60 number ones that Ashley Gorley has had.
That man's written a lot of songs.
He has, and he's had over 20 Triple Play Awards, which are having 3 number ones within 12 months. So huge songwriting challenge. He was really good. It was interesting to see that he played piano. I wasn't expecting that, but it was good.
No.
And he played songs like Sand in My Boots from Morgan Wallen and Heads Carolina by Cole Swindell, the kind of of it. I can't remember what his other songs were off the top of my head, actually.
I feel I should know this and I can't remember. But actually, oh my gosh, I'm suddenly drawing a complete blank.
Yeah, same. We really enjoyed it anyway.
He was really, really good.
Yeah, he was. It was interesting to hear him being like, and sometimes I'd just turn up at this person's house and we'd write a song at 2 a.m. and I'm like, okay.
Sure.
One of the other people that was there was Lainey Wilson, and this was the first time I'd seen her live, so I was very excited for that. She was fab. She performed like various, like some of her older stuff, some of her newer stuff. And she kind of hosted, I guess is the best way to describe it, kind of comparing.
Yeah.
We will probably talk more about Lainey in a minute because she was one of the main stage artists. And then we had Nate Smith, whose song Whiskey on You, that was the one that went number 1, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's had a few other kind of hits the past year and a half, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say about that. Yeah.
But I think he's going to be big. Like,
oh yeah, he's got an album coming out next month, I believe. So
yeah, I think
keep an eye out for that.
And then there's Dalton Dover, who I didn't know much about, and Laura knows a little bit more about.
Yes, because I had a chat with him for EF, Entertainment Focus, before he did his songwriter show. He started out on The Voice in 2019, and then he did some got quite big through TikTok, which seems to be quite a common path into country music for a lot of artists at the moment. But he's got such a lovely voice. Like, it's rich and it's warm and it's powerful, and I think if you like Luke Combs's vocals but you want something a bit more melodic, I feel is the way to best describe it, I think you'll probably like him. So he was great.
So those four were the main people involved in the Songwriters. I've just noticed the time. We're going to have to speed this up.
Yes, we are.
But there was also one song each from the people who were the Introducing Nashville artists this year, which was Alana Springsteen, Tyler Braden, and Caylee Hammack. We're not going to talk about them now because we will talk about them in the Introducing Nashville bit, which happened on the Friday.
Yeah.
And then what did we do after that? We went to the observatory for Texas tornadoes.
Yes, we did.
The observatory is the pub within the O2 that saved our bacon when everybody turned up in 2020 and then the festival was cancelled when we were there. It's a great little pub, and they always like really go all out for us now. So a smaller band, British band called the Texas Tornadoes played. That was an unofficial thing. It wasn't linked to C2C specifically. But we all just piled out Songwriters and into the observatory. And a guy called Alex DJs afterwards, but we were tired, so we left.
Yeah, we decided to keep our powder dry because we had, like I said,
it's a marathon, not a sprint, this festival.
Exactly.
Okay, Friday morning, we stood in the rain and filmed a video.
With the help of our lovely friend Sian.
Yes, I've known Sian for almost 29 years now. She is wonderful. And we were like, do you think you'd mind filming this? And she's like, yeah, fine. And so we just handed her an iPhone and we're like, stand there, film this.
Point this at us and we'll talk.
She was great. So yes, thank you so much to Sian, because we really could not have done it without her. In selfie style, it would have been terrible. So if you're joining us because you saw that video over that weekend, hi, welcome. But we ran around the O2 telling people what kind of tickets they would need, what stages were free, all of that. So that's how we started the morning. It was cold and wet outside, but Sian's hat blew away.
Yeah.
And then we headed into Town Square, which is newly redesigned this year. It used to be two big marquees next to each other. Oh, a cat just jumped on my lap under the desk. Hello, cat too.
Oh,
hi. Oh, she's soggy.
Nobody wants a soggy cat.
No, not sure you're welcome back.
Well, I'm glad that podcast mascot number 3 is indoor only.
Yes, so there's 3 podcast cats. 2 live at my house, 1 lives at Laura's house. You'll see them periodically.
They'll make their appearances as and when.
Yes.
But yeah, back to Town Square.
It used to be 2 big marquees next to each other with a stage in one half and shopping in the rest. It's now 2 big marquees, kind of not quite adjacent to each other, kind of like that. That was a bad impression. With all the shops in, and now there's the Barrel House, which is a separate structure inside that complex, for want of a better word. The Barrel House was beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Absolutely stunning, and I really hope it stays because it was so pretty in there. Big circular room, tables around the outside, big standing area in the middle, and it just worked better having it separated from the shops. But we went shopping first thing on the Friday. I bought a bracelet from Broken Strings.
And I bought cowboy boots, which I'm not going to show you because they're currently in a box that podcast number 3 has decided she likes to sit on. And I quite like my hands, and I don't really want them to be clawed to ribbons, but trying to get my shoes. But
yeah, we went shopping, and then it was time for some music.
Yes, it was.
So I very briefly saw Adam how do you say this? Doleac?
I think you say Doleac. That's how we pronounced it.
Doleac.
I will talk about him later on because I saw him on Sunday. But yeah, that's how he pronounced it. So
for one song. Sorry, Adam. It was a lovely song. But then I ran off to the Indigo to see Nate Smith and Ashley Cooke, who were both really, really good. And then we need to keep this brief, but it's going to be really hard. But then it was Drake time. Not Drake the rapper, before anybody gets very confused.
Not Drake White either.
And not Drake White. No, it was not. It is Drake Milligan, who stole the hearts of so many people that weekend with his absolutely incredible Indigo set. He bounded out onto the stage. Not a huge amount of people knew him, like who he was. No. I think it's fair to say that enough people did, definitely. But he was one of the artists that less people would have known. He got to, I thought he'd won it. He didn't. He got to the semi-finals of America's Got Talent last year. And he's been in a couple of films playing a young Elvis, which is really on brand. If you see him, like, you just, he's very much
now you've said that, I'm like, I can
very
see it.
Influenced by Elvis, and in a really, really good way. He's not trying to be some kind of impersonator, not by a long shot. But I think Laura had an interview with him for Entertainment Focus. I read it earlier. He's very much influenced by really old school stuff, so Elvis fits in with that.
Sure.
He was incredible. He bounded out onto the stage with his 4-piece band, and they didn't stop for half an hour. It was just so energetic. It was so fun. I've never seen the Indigo react like it. That we were sat upstairs. The whole of the upstairs were on their feet by the end of it, which is basically unheard of in the Indigo in the afternoon. It was. I know this is early doors, we're only on Friday. It was the highlight of my festival. It really was. That set was just so surprising in the best possible way.
I had an interview, which meant I didn't see it. It was a great interview. The lovely Alana Springsteen, who is, wonderful, and we'll talk about her shortly. But I was very sorry I missed that. The consensus I heard from people who were like hardened festival goers was it's the best Indigo set since Ashley McBride.
And Ashley McBride was what, 2018?
I think so, yeah. So because it was just before Girl Going Nowhere came out. So
it just blew.
Indeed, I know.
It blew everyone away. Like, there's a big Facebook group. We'll link to it in the description. It's got like 12,000 members or something, and it just lit up. Like, oh my god! If you haven't seen Drake Milligan yet, make sure you see him this weekend. Like, it went berserk at that point, and it was just amazing. So I was up there with basically the rest of mine and Laura's friends that we were at the festival with. And one of our friends' husband comes along, and he likes it. He likes coming along, don't get me wrong, but he's not like massively into country music the rest of the year kind of thing. And he enjoys it, and he was just like, oh my god, this is great. Because I was sat next to him, and he was just like, who is this guy? Like, and I think everywhere you went the rest of the festival, it's like, what's been your highlight? Just chatting to people in queues for like food or getting into the different stages and stuff, and everybody's like, oh, Drake Milligan.
It was like, I don't think I heard anybody say anybody else until
the Sunday evening, which we'll get to.
So
I went to see Drake Milligan. He was amazing. Also, if you're like listening to this or watching this because you are from Texas and managed to pick up our Drake Milligan post on our Facebook, which is our least like highly profiled social media profile, hi, welcome. For some reason that post did absolute numbers. I don't know why, but a lot of people in Texas were commenting on it, sharing it. It was very lovely, but a bit odd. So if that's how you've ended up coming to watch this live stream,
welcome aboard.
My final small stage artist for that day was Leah Blevins in the Wayside. She spotted Morgan Wade on tour last year and was fabulous, so I was really excited to see her again. So everyone was really good. Really liked Nate Smith. Ashley Cooke was fantastic.
She was marvelous.
But it all boiled down to Drake Milligan, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still sad I didn't see that. I did, as we mentioned, saw Ashley, who was wonderful. Is doing really well for herself. She's obviously had big hits with people like Braden Young, and she's going on tour with him, and then I also saw Hannah Ellis, who was again really, really good, very quite sort of poppy and upbeat, but a really fun way to start a festival.
Which stage was she on?
She was on the Icon. Yes.
I never did make it to the Icon stage all weekend.
No, I think I only went like twice, maybe, but
a bit out of the way, if I'm honest.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I wasn't too bad because obviously, because doing interviews and stuff, because it's like up and then along, so it was kind of like, just walk past this on my way back to back out the front. So it's a little bit squirrel away because it's upstairs in the shopping mall bit of the O2. But
did you see anybody else on the small stages on Friday?
Just Ashley, as we talked about already, and then about 30 seconds of Two Ways Home on a run to the press room. But they were great as always, and they're love the guys, and great, one of probably the best British country artists. They're a bit of a staple of the scene, but they're really good. So well worth seeing them for the whole 30 seconds that I did. I still thought he was just very brief, sorry.
Yeah, no, I have heard good things about them. I didn't catch them, unfortunately. But so that was small stages during the day. So the small stages run from midday on the Friday and then about 10:30 in the morning, Saturday and Sunday, to about 4 o'clock-ish, depending on which stage. And then everybody has a mad dash to get some food before we go into the arena. And I don't think either of us made it in time for Breland, did we?
No, we didn't, unfortunately.
Which was sad, but he started even earlier than the normal start time of the arena, and just did not have enough time.
Just didn't.
I actually did watch Leah Blevins whilst eating pizza. That was quite good. She happened to perform on the wayside, which is kind of partway down where all the restaurants are. So we got pizza, took it away, and went and caught the rest of the
nice.
She was very, very good. So we unfortunately missed Breland, but we did work out that we saw him 14 times collectively last year, so I think we're okay.
Much as he was fun. So, it's
And then the next thing on the main stage was introducing Nashville, which started in 2022. So instead of having just one artist play the 40-minute set, they have it set up a bit like a writer's round, basically, and they have 3 up-and-coming artists from Nashville. Last year, it was Priscilla Block, Morgan Wade, and Tiara.
Yes.
And this year, it was Caylee Hammack, who we both have loved for quite a long time, Tyler Braden, and Alana Springsteen.
Yeah.
And they were all fab.
They were all brilliant. I'd seen... we'd seen them at Songwriters the night before. They'd all come out and done a song. I'd also seen Tyler at a showcase earlier in the week with Breland, where he was brilliant. But they were all so good, like just very different, but all very, very strong performers.
I think that Caylee kicked off her career before the pandemic, and then unfortunately, I think she got wrapped up in album releases around the pandemic, and so
she did. Yeah, she had an album come out in August of 2020 that got a little up.
So it was really nice to see her back with new music and stuff, and actually have her. She was actually in the UK at the time that the festival was cancelled last year. She'd been in Germany and stuff, I think, beforehand to come to the UK. It was just about to play, and everybody got sent home.
And then,
but she was wonderful to see. We love her. We love her involvement in the Lindyville project with Ashley McBride. Her first album's fabulous. Family Tree was a brilliant debut single. And then Small Town Hypocrite was just heartbreakingly beautiful. So to hear her sing that over the weekend was really nice. It was really nice to hear her sing some new stuff and know that there's new stuff coming for her as well, because I feel like she got a bit held up in the pandemic and kind of her career was just starting and then kind of got a bit delayed. But that was good. And then we had Tyler Braden, who you'd seen, and you said to me, have you heard this guy? You messaged me and was like, Neon Grave is incredible. I had heard his name. I'd heard his more famous song, which the name escapes me off the top of my head.
Possibly Little Red Wine?
No, the other one.
I can't think what the other one is.
I said a broken heart. This happens every podcast. I want to say about a song and then it completely escapes me.
But he's also been doing stuff as a writer.
Try Losing One.
Yes, which is honestly hearing that and him going for that big note in the O2 is just like
definitely. But it's his song Neon Grave for me. That is stunning, that song.
Yeah.
He didn't play it for the songwriters, which I was secretly hoping, which makes sense because Try Losing One is the lead single and yada yada. Yeah. But then he played it in the arena. I was like, yes, finally.
Yeah. And then Alana, who she did Charlotte to Crime, which is her latest single. She did You Don't Deserve a Country Song, which I love.
That's an anthem, that is.
It is such an anthem. And telling the story about the guy that she wrote it about and the conversation that, it's always this thing we've talked about that I might put you in a song. This wasn't the one you expected to be in, was it, bud? Essentially. And
yeah.
Like, I love you.
Yeah. So she was really, really good. She's got an incredible voice. So introducing Nashville was a lot of fun. Then we had Corey Kent on the Spotlight stage. So Spotlight stage artists play 3 songs straight after the previous act has finished on the main stage. And then there's like a 15-minute gap until the next person comes on the main stage. So it works really well. I liked Corey Kent.
Yeah.
Her song Wild
as Her. Yeah.
Wild as Her.
Yes. Yeah, he's very good. Yeah.
My brain has checked out for today, it seems. Wild as Her was lovely. He's really, really talented. I would say that he could have easily been on that stage with the Introducing Nashville people. Yeah. However, I think he might have just got a little bit lost in between the Introducing Nashville people, which was 3 people that people in the arena might never have heard of before and were kind of buzzy about. And then he was followed by Lainey Wilson on the main stage. So I think that just scheduling time didn't really work for him.
Yeah.
But he was perfectly good. Like, he was really good. Definitely would recommend checking him out.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then, as we mentioned, Lainey, who...
I was so happy.
She was so good. Like...
Yeah.
It was your second time seeing her. I'd actually seen her because she came over in 2018 to play at Country Music Week when nobody really knew who she was.
Yeah.
And then she came back to see, she played, I don't know if she was a spotlight artist in 2019, but she definitely played an Indigo set because I remember being in that room and watching her on a Sunday morning, which that must have been 2019. And then since then, she's just gone stratospheric.
Yeah.
She's been on a Hardy song. She's in Yellowstone now. She's like probably the biggest show on TV. She's had 2 amazing albums. She is smashing it, to be brutally honest.
She is smashing it at the minute. She's had a #1,
yeah. And she's cool.
She's so cool. I want to be like Lainey Wilson when I grow up, and weirdly I'm older than her, I think.
Yeah, it's like I want Lainey Wilson's wardrobe and Ashley McBride's tattoos, basically.
Yeah. She's so cool, and she wears bell bottoms all the time and calls herself Bell Bottom Country.
Yeah.
And if anybody else did that, I would cringe so hard, but she carries it off so well. She's just fabulous. I could not recommend her enough to anybody to go and see her.
Amazing. Yeah.
She had the audience in the palm of her hand.
Oh yeah.
So good. She played Wild Flowers and Wild Horses, which is like one of my favorite songs ever.
Yeah. I love that she did Rolling Stone, because which is on her first record. And sometimes when artists have a very different second album, they don't play much stuff from their first one, and I really love that first one. Like, I still listen to What Would Dolly Do all the time.
Yes, What Would Dolly Do is excellent.
But then, so when she played Rolling Stone, I was just like, yes.
Yeah, it was definitely second album heavy in terms of the set, but that wasn't a bad thing.
No, not necessarily.
That's fine.
And then there was Jordan Davis.
We've missed Mackenzie Porter on the.
We have missed Mackenzie Porter. Sorry, Mackenzie.
Mackenzie Porter is someone you may know from the song with Dustin Lynch.
which is called Thinking About You, and it was number one for something like 6 weeks.
Yeah, it was a big hit.
It was a big hit.
Female artist singing on that. So did she sing that as her third song? Yes, she did.
I want to say, yeah.
And then she also sung her most recent single, I believe it is, called Pickup, which is an excellent fun. It's quite pop heavy, but it's really, really fun.
I love that song.
It's a really, really good song. So she was fab, and then it was Jordan Davis time.
It was Jordan Davis who,
well, he was so good.
He was fantastic. Like,
I've always liked Jordan Davis singles, and it wasn't until his album came out a few weeks ago, and with it being the run up to C2C, I was like, right, I am actually going to listen to his album. But he's not the kind of person that I would listen to a lot. Before. Really liked this most recent album. It's got some bangers on that. So I was excited to see him, but I was just like, not like, he wasn't one of the artists that I was like, oh yes. But his set was fabulous from start to finish. I really, really enjoyed it. He played my favorite song, which is No Time Soon, which is a really, it's quite a steamy song, I'm going to be honest. It's really good. And it's quite atmospheric and kind of, well, the whole point is that there's a storm in the background of the song, so the staging is all like that and things like that. So, that was really, really good. But he played all of his like really famous songs. What My World Spins Around. Did he end with Bider? I think he ended with Bider.
He ended with Bider,
Slow Dance in the Parking Lot, Singles You Up. They were all in there. So
Take It From Me, Almost Maybes, which I really loved like a couple of years ago. From his,
that was a really, really nice moment in the set as well, actually.
So I think he did well. I think he, and then was the perfect tee up for Thomas Rhett, who
I was literally about to say
that, and despite the outfit was a bit Luke Bryan. I'm going to say
it was a little bit
in the nicest possible way.
He pulled it off though. He was wearing a denim shirt. It was quite a nice denim shirt.
And to be fair, the man's got 4 kids now. I think he's like you. You can lean into the kind of country dad chic at this point.
Oh, is this Thomas Rhett? Sorry, I thought you were on about Jordan Davis.
No, Thomas Rhett still.
Oh, okay.
No,
so in
Rhett,
between Jordan Davis and Thomas Rhett,
right in the middle.
There was Ashley Cooke on the spotlight stage. She is fabulous. Although my only complaint about her the whole weekend is that one of my favourite songs by her is a really old song by her, and she didn't play it the whole weekend, so I was sad about that. Called Sunday Morning, kind of Saturday Night, which is a fabulous song. It was the first song I heard by her. But she played a lot more of her more recent stuff. So It's Been a Year and Never Till Now, which is her hit with Brett Young. And all in all, I think she probably connected best with the audience inside the O2 Arena of the 3 spotlight artists. People were really paying attention to her because obviously it's in between the main artist sets, so there's people going out for food, out for beer, like there's a lot of movement happening around in the arena. So much as you really wish that every single person was paying full attention to the spotlight stage, it's just not conducive to that. So right, we have like 20 minutes left, so we're gonna have to go.
So we're gonna have to go.
Was fantastic.
You got what you were expecting. It was a party. It was hit after hit after hit after hit. It was all the way from did a medley of Get Me Some of That and Make Me Wanna, all the way through to like the newest stuff. It was basically what you expected.
I don't think it's even out yet. The
Country, which I am stupidly excited about that. It's very 90s, it's very catchy. He did it as an acoustic. He'd done it at the Big Machine showcase. Big Machine is a big record label in Nashville, the label that broke Taylor Swift, but they do like a showcase pre-C2C, and he was one of the artists at that, and he played that song there, and it was brilliant. So when he played that, and I was properly freaking out. And James was like, what is this? Because James, my editor at EF, who didn't go to that showcase, and I was like, you'll get it when you hear it. It's so good. So I'm hoping that will be on whatever he's doing next. I think he kind of veered away from country for a little bit a few years ago, not like properly, but just a little bit in the sound of it, and he's coming back to it considerably now. Which is good. So he was fantastic. As she said, it was just a hit parade, and it was great. Yeah.
And then very quickly after that, we went to see Milligan again.
Yeah, I was also going to say Thomas Brett also brought out Niall Horan.
Oh yeah, Niall from One Direction.
From One Direction, formerly of One Direction.
They sang Slow Hands, and it was all great, but I'm still a little bit confused as to why he was there.
Yeah, I think kind of trying to attempt the Ed Sheeran moment that Luke Combs did last year.
I'll be honest, it wasn't the Ed Sheeran moment that Luke Combs did last year, but it was good. We enjoyed it. It wasn't a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. Niall was wearing double denim. He was trying his hardest to fit in.
Right. Yeah. So and then after that it was basically bolted to the saloon for Drake Milligan.
Yeah. We got to dance on chairs to do Drake Milligan in All Bar One, and honestly it was the highlight of my weekend.
midnight, and I think
it was fantastic.
I got a very shocked reply to a text message that I sent to somebody who might or might not be watching this.
Yeah. It was just
that's what you did.
Yeah. We went down the side bit in All Bar One where the seating, where it's more seating, and the two guys were sat down and they were like, "Don't worry, we can't see anyway. If you want to stand on the chair so you can see, we're not going to be offended."
No.
One of them caught me when my chair nearly tipped over.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. So we were just stood on these chairs so that we could see and dancing away. And Drake Milligan and his band were on the tiniest stage for a 5-piece band.
Yeah.
Just 100 or so people in All Bar One had the time of their life. It was amazing. We got to have a photo with him afterwards. A few of us got to chat to the band briefly afterwards too, which was really cool.
Yeah. And we got recognised, and it was so nice.
Okay. Your small stage artist of the day. Mine was Drake Milligan.
Of the people that I saw, I'm going to say Ashley Cooke.
Spotlight artist.
Mackenzie Porter. Just
I'm Ashley Cooke.
Yeah. And
main stage artist.
Thomas. Yeah. I love them all, but TR.
This was the day that I struggled to choose between most. I would actually say I liked Thomas's set, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed it. But probably Jordan Davis, just because I was surprised by just how good he was.
Yeah. I will say
that makes it sound like I thought he was going to be bad. I didn't. He was just even more exceeding my expectations. So,
and I will say Lainey was great as well. So
Lainey was great. Right, we have waffled for too long. Let's get on.
And it's only and that's only the Friday. We're gonna have to speed this up.
Small stages. I started off seeing First Time Flyers in the Barrel House, and they are a new British band, and they were great. They are 4 established artists already. Tim Protty Jones, who I believe used to be in the Wandering Hearts.
Yes.
He's now a producer as well. Jake Morrell, Poppy Bardell, and Vicky Manser have come together, and they're a new British country band. They were fab, really upbeat, really fun. They have a new single coming out in a couple of weeks as well. So they were really good. And then I followed it up immediately on the same Barrel House stage by Brian Collins and Rockwell Jacobs. So Brian Collins is the main artist and his guitarist is Rockwell Jacobs. And they supported Kezia Gill on her tour last year. And I was so excited to see them again because they are so, so good. Brian's just got a kind of like old soulness about him that I really, really like. And he's just, the two of them together on stage are very funny. They're very comedic. They just have a really nice stage presence and they just sing really kind of authentically and just in a way that's like just really nice to listen to. Then the slight surprise of my day was catching the end of Megan McKenna in the Indigo. Now Megan McKenna is from Towie, which I did not know until my friend Andy, who I was with, told me that in the time we were there. He was like, I can't believe she's like gone from reality TV to this. And I was like, what? I had no idea. She was really good. All I knew was that she was British. That was all I knew going into her set. And so when he said that she'd come from reality TV, I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, she was on Towie. I was like, and then she spoke and then it all made sense. But not I think there's a risk there that if you've been involved in something like that, it's kind of given you a step up into the industry that you don't necessarily deserve. I don't
Yeah.
mind people getting step up as long as they've got the talent to prove it, but she really has. So yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just rattling through mine and then coming
Right,
back.
keep going.
Then it was Madeline Edwards, who was one of the people I was most excited to see all weekend. She sings a song called Mama Dolly Jesus, which if you haven't heard it, you must. It's brilliant. Her whole album was one of my very favourites from last year. It's called Crash Landed. And her set was just perfect. I loved it. And then I got to go do the meet and greet with her afterwards. So I got my photo with her, which was really nice. She was lovely.
She's doing a London show in July as well, which the tickets go on sale for tomorrow.
Yes.
And I've also just had a penny drop moment that she might be Maren Morris's support.
No, it's Sam Palladio.
Oh yes, so of course, yeah, that. Anyway.
Which was only announced recently, so
yeah, still.
Yeah, I did think that, and then I remembered that I'd seen it with Sam Palladio. But yeah, they are here at the same time.
Yes, there is basically a 3-week period of the badass country women are invading this summer.
Yes, so we're excited
for it.
I very briefly saw George Birge on Wayside, but only for like one song, and I saw him again, so I'll come back to him. Okay. Then I went back to the Indigo to cry my little heart out to Sam Williams, who is just brilliant. He sings the most heartbreakingly beautiful songs. He's absolutely fantastic, and I say all of this before I tell you that he is Hank Williams's grandson, but fully deserving to be having a career in his own right, and definitely inherited the good singing genes.
Yes.
And my final small stage was Pillbox Patti. Also known as Nicolette Hayford, longtime songwriting partner of Ashley McBride, was involved in the Lindyville project. She's bonkers, and I loved it.
She's amazing.
She is probably one of the most Marmite artists on the list. So, yeah, I can't see that everybody would have loved her, but yeah, she was really good.
She was great. I saw her on Sunday and she was fab. I got to chat to her and she's lovely. So mine were, I started at the Saloon Novel 1 with Catie Offerman. She's from Texas. She's mainly an instrumentalist, but she has some really lovely songs. She's got a song called OK Cowboy, which has a very Midlandy vibe. A song called I Just Killed a Man, which is a really good twist on a breakup song. And then another song called Get a Dog, which is like, if you like tongue-in-cheek kiss-off songs about, idiot exes, that is very, very funny. So she was great. And then ran over to see Corey Kent on the Indigo, who we've talked about already. Did a really good acoustic set, very relaxed, very chilled, played some really great stuff. I then had a bunch of interviews, and then I went to see 49 Winchester in the Barrel House, who smashed it. I think I said this on our little video that we did on the Sunday, midway through the festival. But they played a song called Last Call, which is on the Yellowstone soundtrack. And if there's such a thing as a bop in country, it's that song. And then Damn Darling will just break your heart. And then a little bit of Randall King, who's another Texas artist. And he was really, really, really fun. So, and then Nate's back to the Barrel House for Nate Smith as well, who just smashed it. We've talked about him a little bit already, but yeah. So that was my very sort of whistle stop in between interviews going to pop-up stages on the Saturday.
So main arena on the Saturday started off with Matt Stell, who we saw him in a show with LV Shane last October.
Yes, a butthole.
Seeing him at that show, and the lineup had already been announced for C2C, I think.
Yeah.
I was a bit on the fence about Matt Stell. I liked his hits, but I wasn't too sold on him. And then I saw him in that show with LV Shane and changed my mind completely, knew he was going to be great. And so the set was fab, really, really good. So much energy.
Yeah.
Quite heavy in terms of its guitars, lots of drums, lots of guitars.
Yeah.
Kind of got that rock influence, but he was really, really good.
Yeah, so there was him, and then I have just had a brain blank of who was
Randall King was
Randall
first on the
King,
spotlight.
yeah, who played really good. He played You and a Honky Tonk, which is like his big hit. I can't remember what else he played, but again, that very kind of Texas swing kind of honky tonk vibes, and he's really good. He's coming back in September.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see him again because he was just smooth, and he's Texas personified in terms of its country music scene. Like, he is a big deal in Texas. But yeah, it was just so nice to have that kind of like 90s-ish country, this Western swing kind of vibe to it.
For sure. Yeah.
And then we went from Texas to Australia for
With
Morgan Evans.
Morgan Evans.
I saw him in 2019 and loved him. You've seen him a couple of times now, haven't you, before?
Quite a few, yeah. I remember seeing him, I don't remember what year it was, but it was Borderline still existed, if anybody remembers Borderline, in off Oxford, not off Oxford Street, off Tottenham Court Road. And I saw him in there, place of 40 people, when he was probably more famous for who he was going out with at that point than his actual music here.
But he played a blinder of a set.
He was really good. He was really good, like loads of energy, really fun, and then plays over for you and breaks the hearts of the whole arena. And
then picks it back up again and makes us all have a party at the end. So he also played Things That We Drink To, which is another very, very sad but lovely song. So I had a little sob at that point because it's really sad. Well, we are really running out of time. We might run over.
We are. Well,
Sam Williams was on the spotlight stage, and I think he captured a lot of people on that stage. Actually, he really engaged with the audience. He sung a version of I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry that was just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And obviously that's a song that you're not going to want to take on like half-heartedly, especially if you're related to the man that made it famous, that was
even if that's not your granddad, that's still a big deal.
And I am not discrediting all of the incredible people that came before, but Hank Williams was the person who like really started to put country music in a wider audience and things like that, in terms of its like Nashville era. And so like that's the big ask to take on that song. And he did it brilliantly. And then it was Midland time. It was Midland time, and it's not a secret that we're Midland fans, and they're always so much fun to watch. They were an artist I was a little bit nervous how their energy was going to translate to that big stage, because mostly when I've seen them before, it's been in like small venues and they've been able to kind of bounce around, and it's been quite a high energy show. They were brilliant. They really did so well. Just great atmosphere, lots of fun. The only thing is, they might have maybe one too many covers, and I would have liked more of their original stuff. But beyond that, it was like, this is great. They sang Sunrise Tells the Story, which I was not expecting to make it into a set list. They did. I was very happy about it. Oh, there's our timer. Oops. There's a timer. Yeah. They also opened with If I Lived Here, which they didn't play on their tour, and I loved that song, so I was proper bouncing. I think I was slightly freaked out, Matt Sprackland, with how excited I was. It was sat next to me, aka the world's tallest man. Before his hair. And they did do quite a few covers, but they did Eastbound and Down, which was fab. They also do an incredible cover of Wicked Game. So I was really happy that they did. So they were really, really fun. And then straight after Midland, keeping it in the Texas theme, Great Milligan was on the spotlight stage. Now, my only sad thing was that he wasn't able to bring out his full band. He took 2 of the 4 of them onto the stage with him, his guitar player and his fiddle player, and they were still amazing. They were great. It's the only time I've seen like a standing ovation for a spotlight stage artist. Apart from Ashley McBride, I wasn't there, but there was Ashley McBride's iconic spotlight stage. Because as we said here, it's when people are, they're going to get a drink, they're going to get food, they're going to the bathroom, whatever it is. Not with this. People stuck around for that. And it was
brilliant. And then Lady A,
Yes.
who were
really, really good, but I don't really know how we can sum them up because they're just very solid performers, but there's nothing that is actually like.
It's not like a big spectacular stage show in the way that like Thomas Rhett, for example, was. It's not like all singing, all dancing.
But you can absolutely depend on it being really, really good.
Yeah, like the harmonies are super tight. I'm going to give a shout out to Dave because poor Dave never gets any credit and he's an amazing musician. Like, you know, Charles and Hillary's chemistry is just really good. You know, Charles played as far as you could, which is, you know, his song about getting sober, which is really such an emotional gut punch.
Yeah, it was really good.
They were Lady A and they were great, you know.
It was old songs, it was new songs, it was really
you got what you want, you've got what you'd expect, and you know.
And they ended on Need You Now because of course.
Because what else do you finish with if you're Lady A?
Yeah.
And then that was it for us because we decided
we chose sleep on Saturday night because we were exhausted.
Yes.
Small stage artist of the day.
Small stage artist of the day, 40 Winchester for me, I'm going to say.
Okay. Mine was Madeline Edwards, but First Time Flyers and Sam were a very close joint second.
Yeah.
Spotlight artist?
Spotlight. I'm going to say Madeline Edwards.
Ah, okay.
It's to say Drake.
No, she wasn't that night. Your choices are Randall King, Sam Williams, or Drake.
Sorry. Randall King then.
Okay.
Much as I love Drake, I feel like
he was
better in the
I'd seen 2 full band performances at that point, so actually I'm going to be honest, preferred them. So I'm going to pick Sam Williams as my spotlight artist because he killed us all with his cover.
Yeah.
My main stage artist was Midland. I'm
going to say Morgan Evans.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we were going to wrap this up by 9. It's not going to happen, but
we're not going to finish this in 2 minutes. I tell you that.
We will be as quick as we possibly can. So thank you if you're going to stick around for the rest of it.
It's appreciated.
Sunday started back off in the Barrel House again. I went to watch George Birge. Oh, we both watched George Birge.
George Birge, yes.
So George Birge is fairly new to the scene. He'd been writing. I think he'd had a deal before that he got out of and things like that.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, I heard a song called Cowboys Talking that I really, really liked, but I hadn't actually paid attention to who sang it. And then I can't remember why, but you messaged me saying, have you heard George Birge? And I went, oh, I don't know. And I put him into Spotify and went, oh yeah, I haven't really liked that song. I hadn't made the connection that he was on the C2C lineup. So I was very glad to get to see him. And I only saw one song the previous day. And it wasn't Cowboys Talking, which is the song I really like. So I was glad to see it properly. But he was really fun. He was great. Very engaging.
He is lovely. Yeah. The song of his that I particularly like is called That Drink, which is a reworking of a Neil McCoy track. I think it's called Wink or something like that from the 90s. But that's super fun. And then Mind on You as well, which is a song that originally Jason Aldean held for ages. And then basically it became a thing where I can't remember who it was, but somebody basically said to George Birge, no, you need to keep that for yourself.
Clay Walker was who said it.
Yes, it was. Because it's like, it's too good for you to give away, essentially.
Yeah. And then he wrote a hilarious song that went viral on TikTok called Beer, Beer, Truck, Truck. Which, on the one hand, it is absolutely what you'd expect from a song called Beer, Beer, Truck, Truck. And on the other hand, is not at all what you'd expect from a song called Beer, Beer, Truck, Truck. It's very good. Please don't judge it on its title alone.
It's like the bloke version of Girl in a Country Song by Maddie and Tay. But but I don't mean that in a bro country way.
No. It's very, very good. You should check it out. It's good.
Yes, you should.
Yeah. And then I went off to see Kezia Gill in the Indigo. Kezia is a British artist. She is fantastic. She's probably leading the way, I'd say, at the minute, outside of the Shires and Maud Thomas in terms of the UK country scene. Everybody loves her. She's got the most magnificent voice. So seeing her in a full band in the Indigo was just magical.
Yeah, she's fab. Yeah.
And then I went down to Amanda Shires and...
Well, both of us were at Amanda Shires.
Yes.
So, yes.
That was a moment. That was stunning.
That opening...
Amanda Shires' type of country is quite different, but she's an incredibly deep songwriter, incredibly thoughtful lyricist, and she actually put together the Highwomen a few years ago, which is her, Brandy Carlisle, Natalie Hemby, and Maren Morris, and then they have other people that come and go from it, such as Brittany Spencer, Yola, Sheryl Crow,
a few others.
I'm trying to think of the other one. No,
but
they have other ladies who kind of come and go from that as well, and it's fabulous. And she sung the song The Highwomen, which is a take on the Highwaymen song, but it's singing about different women from history, and by and large anonymous women, but women in their struggles. So there's like a verse that's about the American Civil War, there's a verse about
freedom riders, about
segregation and things like that. The Witches of Salem. It's beautiful. And I remember we were just stood there, me and another friend, and we both just looked at each other and we had tears in our eyes. Like, it was haunting and beautiful.
So good.
So good. Then I saw Cameron Marlowe, who I now have a real soft spot for. He's so nice.
Great.
His album came out last year. It's fantastic. It's called We Were Cowboys. I'd liked it for a long time. He had a song called Burn Them All, which I think came out almost 3 years ago now, which is just a fabulous song. So hearing him sing that was really, really, really good. We didn't hear it until later in the day. That was a funny story. And then my last artist, small stage artist, was Jade Helliwell, who's another British talent. She is very good. She released a song last year called Woman I Am, which is just an absolute anthem. It's so good. So I saw her out on the big entrance stage and she absolutely rocked it. There was a lot of people stood there watching her. And she was just great. She's from Yorkshire. Lots of fun, lots of energy, lots of like meaningfulness in her songs as well, which I really appreciate.
Good. So mine, after George Birge, I went to back to the saloon to see Gillian Jacqueline, who I've loved for so long, and just did the dreamiest set with stuff from her record that came out last year called Honestly, and then some of her older stuff as well, which again, I love that older stuff that she was putting out, like, you know, things like Hate Me and God Bless This Mess, and she just has the most beautiful voice. It was one of those really, this is a nice chilled Sunday morning kind of set. And then went to the Icon stage to see Tiger Lily Gold, who were super fun. They played their current radio single Shoot Tequila. They played a song called Blonde, which is really like fun and upbeat. And then one that's
coming out soon, that Blonde song.
I think either this month or next month. I can't remember when they said. And then a song called I Try to Ring On, which is like it's kind of a breakup song, but it's more that thing of like losing the life you thought you were going to have as opposed to the person. And it's just so much feeling and so much emotion. They're going to have I think they said they're going to have an album this year, and I'm really looking forward to that. I also went to see Adam Doleac do a showcase in the Blue Room. He was really good, you know, again, a little bit poppy, quite soulful, but really fun to watch. He also brought Mitchell Tenpenny out with him to do Anything She Says, which I was really glad I got to hear that because I really like that song, and Mitchell didn't put it in his set that evening, so it was nice to get to hear that one. And then ran over to Barrel House to see Pillbox Patti, who we've talked about already. She was great, really, really, I really enjoyed her set. Kind of, divisive, as you were saying, but I thought she had really good energy. She had a great time. And
I would say she's almost grungy.
Like she's very kind of, there's a very sort of, it's not quite a rock edge, it's like a hard rock edge, but it's that kind of grunge.
She's definitely singing about the kind of wrong side of the tracks type of town.
And there's a little bit of like hip hop influences in there and things. But she was great.
It's great.
And then it was into the arena. So I'm having a brain blank who it was.
It was Lindsay L.
It was Lindsay L. who I only
Her
saw a bit of.
incredible guitar playing.
Yeah, I only caught the end of her set, but she's always a great guitar player. Like we've made, I've seen her a few times now, and she's always smashed it in that regard. For me, Criminal is always the standout in that set. I just think it's so fun and playful, and I really like the energy she has with that.
She had a new song that was called Sweet Spot, I think it was called.
Yes.
That she played in her set, which I really, really liked, actually. I'm not a fan of Lindsay Ell, but she's not someone I've like listened to loads and loads and loads. I've seen her live a couple of times before and always kind of really enjoyed it. But I really thought that Sweet Spot was a strong song.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see how that sort of shakes out in future.
Then it was Madeline Edwards on the Spotlight stage, and she sang Crash Landed, she sang Hold My Horses, and she sang Mama Dolly Jesus.
Yes.
Which, apart from one of the songs, if you made me boil down her album into 3 songs, those would be the ones I picked.
Yeah.
Mama Dolly Jesus is so much fun. I love it.
Sass. I love it. Like
it's really sassy. It's basically, if you're not my mama, Dolly, or Jesus, I ain't listening to your unsolicited advice.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really, really good. She was fabulous. I can't wait for her to come back.
She'll be great when she's back here.
Then it was Mitchell Tenpenny, who was my biggest surprise of the weekend.
I would
Great Milligan, who we just didn't know what to expect from.
I would agree with that. I had been a little bit trepidatious about that set, and I actually ended up really enjoying it. I was like, this is good.
Yeah, I was having a really, really fun time.
Yeah. Was even like literally the second you walked on, it was like, okay, I'm like proper rocking out to Good Place now. And he has pretty much planted himself in my Spotify on repeats ever since.
Yeah, I would say that Mitchell Tenpenny on radio, on paper, etc., has always been just that little bit too much bro country for me. He's very bro country. He's very good, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think it's just too much bro country at once for me. And then I saw him live, and actually in a live setting, I think it's the same with Dustin Lynch, actually, when he played in 2019. I was
I was going to say.
Very, very...
It had that feel.
Not one-dimensional, but everything is very, very bro-heavy. And then you see them perform it live, and because it's rocky and it's fun and it's upbeat, you're like, oh, actually, I'm having a very good time.
But then he'll probably do something a little bit poppier, like, you know, Always Something With You, which I love. I'm obsessed with that song. But then going something like Truth About You, which is this something that people don't talk a lot about in country stuff, this kind of, you know, the ugly breakup.
Yeah.
And that he just had this huge, big, powerful note at the end of that. It's like, I'm literally pinned to the back of the seat because it's like this big voice, and it's like, yes, dude, kind of. So he was brilliant. I think he was probably he was my surprise of the weekend for about 30 minutes.
Yes, true. And then there was Cameron Marlowe on the Spotlight stage. Talked about his Indigo set earlier. Really, really good. He played like some of his most popular songs, and it was just so nice to hear Girl on Fire, which I love, and things like that. Like really, really good.
Yeah.
And then it was time for Old Crow Medicine Show. Yes. Oh my word.
Yes.
Old Crow Medicine Show have been around since 2005. They are the original singers of the song Wagon Wheel, made more famous by Darius Rucker. And they are exactly what you would think of if you were thinking of somebody who's not a country music fan thinking of country music.
Yeah.
The negative stereotype.
Yeah.
A lot of what they do is very similar in sound to that.
Yeah.
And that is not a negative thing necessarily.
Yeah.
But when you listen to them on CD, anybody who can sit there and listen to them for a long time on Spotify is a better person than I am, quite frankly. It's just so full on, I think, is probably the best way to describe it. They're incredibly talented. Oh my God, in a live show, though, do they come into that?
Yeah. Like 2 songs in, it was basically like, you've won the festival. Yeah. Like, beat this, that brown band.
Yeah, genuinely, people were saying, I don't know how Zach Brown Band are going to follow this.
No.
It was the most upbeat, energetic hour and a half or so. They had the audience in the palm of their hand. They were comedic in elements. They were just incredibly talented, and it just oozed out of them. At one point, there were 6 of them with a microphone and nothing else. And they sang a sea shanty and had the whole audience encapsulated.
Yeah.
That is a flipping big room to be able to keep captivated with 6 voices and 1 microphone and nothing else.
They were just honestly sensational. They were like, you know, it was again the way they bounced off each other. You know, they're like dancing around. There's Elvis moves. There's the floss. They're stealing each other's hats. They're like, that is the energy of people that know each other so well and are able to just bounce off each other and still be incredible musicians while they're doing it.
They are truly the word showman.
Yeah, there's no other way to describe it. And then when they played Wagon Wheel, it's basically the audience goes. There's no other way to describe it.
I've never heard noise like that. It was
honestly like
amazing.
A roar. It was just the entire 20,000 people singing Wagon Wheel is like.
The thing is, we'd all had that moment the year before because Darius Rucker headlined on the Saturday night. We'd all gone mad for Wagon Wheel only a year previously, and I was like, this could be interesting.
But it just.
This is no discredit to that moment with Darius Rucker because that was utterly fabulous in its own right. Mm-hmm. But this was off the charts. So I am now starting it's a 2-women campaign because Laura's on board, of having Old Crow Medicine Show come back, do their own shows over here supported by Drake Milligan, because that would just be incredible. But when I put that on Twitter, a guy called Ian did point out we'd probably need defibrillators on standby. He's not
wrong, to be fair.
Right, let's try and wrap this up.
Yes.
The only bit of the weekend that I didn't like, and it was absolutely nothing to do with the performer. I've just told you how much I adored Amanda Shires. But putting Amanda Shires between Old Crow Medicine Show and Zach Brown Band, someone's head needs to roll. It was a stupid idea.
Like, I really hope it's not the person who also said, let's book Old Crow Medicine Show, because that person deserves all the money in the world.
Okay, your head can stay just about.
Yeah.
The only person, and it wouldn't have worked out because of the scheduling, the only person I think that could have actually kept the audience upbeat in between the 2 sets would have been Drake Milligan, but he was on the night before. Yeah. I don't think anybody else would have actually not floundered on the spotlight stage.
Out of those 3. But I think Madeline would have got you closest. I don't
probably know. Yeah. But Amanda Shires, I think, like, I worship the ground she walks on.
Yeah.
But there was just no way that her quirkiness and lack of interaction with the audience, which is part of her style, which I adore, and her songs could go in between this. It was just completely the wrong setting. I saw so many people slating her, and I felt so bad because she is one of the most talented people in Nashville, and it just did not carry on in that setting because it was just the polar opposite of what came before it and what was due to come after it.
Yeah, and she's vocally stunning, beautiful fiddle playing. The fact that we were going to get to watch 3 of the best fiddle players in Nashville back to back, so we're going to, because we'd obviously had, I can never pronounce his last name right, Ketch Seeker, is it?
Ketch Seeker. We actually, I was about to say about Drake Milligan's fiddle player, but he was the night before, never mind.
Yeah, so Ketch Seeker from Old Crow Medicine Show, then Amanda, and then Jimmy Martini, who's in Zach Brown Band. The fact that we got those 3 back to back feels like such a huge privilege. But her sound is so sparse and haunting, and it comes like it was echoing in the camera, and it sounded great, but the vibe of it just wasn't right for that moment. And that is not to slate her. She's fab. We love her. Like, I literally, James sent me the text going, "Who wants the presser for Amanda Shires?" It was like, maybe.
Yeah.
I've never replied to a text so fast in my life. But it just wasn't.
Sorry, I just kicked a cat under the desk. Oops.
Oh, sorry, cat.
Sorry, Luna.
But it just wasn't the right feeling. No. And I feel gutted for her, and I really hope it's not going to affect
Well, she's announced that she's coming back for a tour, so
she's going to play, but it's just whether, I really hope it's not going to affect that, basically, too badly. But then, Zac Brown Band time.
I want to take a moment first for the Zac Brown Band section to say that, like, there's big screens behind the stage, and they all have, like, their own presentations, light shows, whatever you want to call it. And none of them were bad. They were all very nice to watch and complimented them well. Zac Brown Band's visual displays on those screens was exemplary.
Yes.
Oh, hello. This is Luna.
Hello, kitten.
See, it was worth going over time. Anyway,
yes.
They were exemplary. There was a song, I think it was Free, that they were singing, and there was a phoenix on the screen going through, like, woodland, basically. Like, it was all cartoon, not digital. It wasn't like landscape.
Yeah, kind of like not sort of like a painting effect, but not kind of.
It was beautiful, and it worked so well with the band, especially for those who aren't sitting super up close and can see everybody really big. It was amazing, and I think it really deserves calling out because it was really, really well done.
It was lovely. Yeah, it was great. Those visuals, like, again, the forest shot, and now she's walking away, and the sort of the stars at the end when they're playing colder weather, and it's like, which they mashed up with them, Take It to the Limit, and we were basically like, and we're back in Hyde Park, and it's the summer, and it's
Take It to the Limit will always take us back to Vince Gill singing in Hyde Park, but hearing it again was lovely. They played every hit that you can think of. They started out with Knee Deep. No, they didn't.
Deep, and then what else did they do? They did Keep Me in Mind. They did, gosh, like I said, Homegrown, I think, was in there.
Homegrown was what they started with, sorry, and then Knee Deep.
Yeah, obviously Toes, Jump Right In.
Yeah.
All the Zac Brown Band classics. Obviously, Same Boat was in there, which we very nearly started to turn into Chicken Fried, which was obviously what they finished on. And
we ended the festival with Chicken Fried, and if you can't end a festival with Chicken Fried, when can you? Like, come on.
And it was Riding Wheel.
The
Riding Wheel.
But it was amazing. And then we went to see Cameron Marlowe at the after party, and he was just so blown away by the fact that we all knew his songs. And then he was like, what do you want me to sing? And there was a group of us that were all stood together, like literally yelling Burn 'Em All at him repeatedly until he finally heard us and sung Burn 'Em All, which is my favorite of his songs. So that was so good. So let's wrap this up. Small stage artist of the day.
Small stage artist of the day on the Sunday, I'm going to say, was Amanda Shires for me.
Yeah, Amanda Shires, closely followed by Kezia Gill.
Yeah, I would say my second was probably Tiger Lily Gold. And then Satellite, Madeline.
I went Madeline for Spotlight Stage 2. And then main stage artist.
Open Medicine Show.
It's got to be. And that's no disrespect to Zac Brown Band. They were utterly fabulous as well. I was a bit like, am I going to enjoy this anywhere near as much as I've just enjoyed Old Crow Medicine Show? And I did. I really did.
Yeah. Like in a different way, but very much like, you did enjoy it. And it's what you kind of want to finish on. You want, like, someone who's going to bring all their big hits. You're going to have a party. You're going to, finish it on a high. And it's great.
Yeah. So that was our C2C.
Yeah. We're sorry we went a bit long.
I know.
But it was that good. We just had to tell you all about it.
We didn't want to miss anybody else. So anybody out as well. It would feel unfair to just gloss over people that we saw. Because there wasn't a bad person that we saw all weekend.
No.
Nobody did I stand there being like, oh God.
Yeah. There was no one where I was like, yeah, I'm bored of this now. I want to go do something else.
I was super engaged the whole time.
Yeah, I was having to drag myself away from a lot of stuff and then like sprint because I had things to do.
Yeah. So that is C2C. I'm really glad we didn't save this for the March episode because it's not gone well.
Yeah, it would have been like 3 hours long.
We are gonna wrap this up now. Stop taking up people's time.
Yes.
And we'll be back in a couple of weeks with our March episode, which is our usual format, which is why we're called Country Monthly, because it's a monthly roundup of singles, albums and gigs that happened in March. What we're actually doing is a few that we didn't get round to in February because we've done the only gigs we went to in March here.
Yes, and yeah.
The description box will be full of links to various things that we have mentioned. Festival wise, you're going to Black Deer?
I am hoping to go to Black Deer, yes.
So that will be our next festival coverage. Will be Laura on her own at Black Deer.
Yeah.
I can't make that. And then the next big festival coverage from both of us will be the Long Road Festival in August.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, but we've got so many other gigs to go to in between, so there'll be loads of
it's gonna be a busy year, I think. And people, I
thought 2022 was busy, and I think this might even get busier.
I know. I was particularly like this summer, I was looking at my calendar I'm literally having to make sure I write everything down because I'm just like, I know I'm gonna book something and be like, have a gig.
Yeah. So thank you for sticking around. We have a playlist. The links will be below, and we're going to add a couple of songs from each artist that we've talked about onto that playlist. So we'll get a mammoth update tomorrow.
Yeah.
New Music Monday will be back on our social media on Monday. We're doing a Women's History Month special on Monday, actually. It's the last Monday of March.
Yep, so look out for that.
So there'll be 6 new tracks from ladies. Then we'll be back to normal New Music Monday the week after. And the next episode will be the first week of April.
Yeah.
Thank you to anybody who watched us for a whole hour and 22 minutes. That's dedication.
Thank you very much for giving it our Thursday evenings to hang out with us and listen to us.
It was so fun doing this live. We'll definitely be live going forwards because it's a lot easier for me.
Yeah, but we'll try to keep it to a little. We'll try to keep it a little bit more close to 2 hours.
It's going to be hard to crunch into an hour, so it's fine. We will be back soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you soon.